Hello everyone, and welcome to today's stream. I am Mage 1011, and today we are playing some more Final Fantasy XIV. This time we're checking out, or at least trying out, the Relic weapon questline for Dawn Trail. Later on in the stream, I will be reading a comic to the chat. But for now, let's get started in the Relic weapon. I should have probably used the Aetherite, but let's walk. I've never done the... Well, that's a lie. I did the Relic weapon for Dawn Trail a bit on my main character, but I skipped through the story so that I could have a fresh experience on stream. So for now, let's head to the docks. This is the wrong docks. But yeah, like yesterday, we will be reading PMD Team Aqua Blaze after I do some Relic stuff. So you guys can look forward to that. We will be picking up where we left off yesterday, mid-chapter 2. But first off, let's talk to Expedition Messenger. One last hurrah. The Expedition Messenger casts his gaze expectantly about the harbor. You're Wolf Mage, aren't you? Just the man I was after, as it happens. Old Kettenram tasked me with finding you. Says he's got a proposition for you. Stay right there. I'll go fetch him. Now, I have never watched the story for this particular series of events, nor have I read them, so let's see what happens. Apologies for coloring you like this, but I was hoping we could parlay before ye leave Tuliolo. I'll cut right to the chase. I want you on board for me final expedition. Before I get into the particulars, allow me to spin a quick yarn. These days, any Eorzean sailor worth their salt bound for Tuliolo takes the established route and skirts the southern Indigo Deep. But back when maps of the realm were nothing but blank parchment past Vilbrand, all we had was the allure of the horizon to guide us. Most of me fellow explorers weighed anchor and cut a course due west, heading straight for adventure. Alas, most were lost to the waves. Me, crew, and I reached Tyrell on account of us ranging north and avoiding the same treacherous waters that claimed them. That stretch of deep came to be known as Shade's Triangle. I had a notion to solve its mysteries on behalf of me fallen comrades, but after arriving on these shores, it was the land and not the sea that promised adventure anew. Once I settled here and disbanded the expedition, I never did get the opportunity. But then I crossed paths with a certain realm-renowned adventurer and began to wonder. Something told me that your help would... with your help, I'd finally shed light on the mysteries of those accursed waters. So how about it? Will you join an old explorer on one final jaunt? It would be my honor. You had me at mystery, but what of your duties at the palace? Not to worry. I propose all this with the full backing of the Dawn Servant. Truth be told, even before Gulul Jaja asked me to watch over Kona and Wuklamot, I feared I'd never sail again. Any road, I sensed the pair were wise to worry to me worrying, so I laid it all bare. And you say the mysteries of Shade's Triangle has haunted you since? The range of which you speak is an impediment of trade with foreign nations. Any effort to unravel its secrets would ultimately benefit Terrell. Sounds like it might be the last chance you get, especially if you're hoping to get Wolf Mage involved. Besides, Papa would turn in his grave if we barred his old friend from one final voyage. I say follow your heart, Tonqua. I'm sure you'll be wanting more details, but I'd like to set sail sooner rather than later. Let's reconvene once we've put a few malms between us and the harbor. The ship is already waiting. Had her sent over from Limsa especially. When you're ready, speak with Ffxiv over on the pier. Sorry if I butchered that name. Ffxiv. And it's right around here, so let's wait for the NPC to spawn. There you have it. The legend himself is leaving to proverbial dry docks. The proverbial dry docks for one last hurrah. If you're shipshape yourself, head to the pier and have a word with Ffxiv. If they would spawn. Wolf Mage, I presume. Captain Ram told me all about you. The name's Ffxiv, navigator by trade. They say Shade's Triangle is wrecked with storms year-round, but a closer look at the charts tell you that ain't strictly true. For a brief season, the sky's clear and the sea's calm, hence why the old explorer is eager to weigh anchor. What's the matter? Don't tell me you're wary of clambering into this little robot. we're not rowing all the way to Shade's Triangle. Our vessel's waiting out beyond the shallows. Any road, when you're good to and prepared to leave, just say the word. And talk to him again. Ready to plot a course for waters unknown, are you? Yes. Don't know whether to respect your mettle or question your sanity, but welcome aboard. Shade's Triangle, here we come. Sorry if my chair squeaking is being caught on the microphone, as well as the audio from outside my door. I can't really do much about either of those. Oh, I need to turn something on for chat. There we go. Because chat can have bad things. Plain sailing thus far, might be time to talk about our destination. Shade's Triangle is a churning mass of storms, so every time a vessel goes missing in the region, most blame the treacherous conditions. But hear this, there are records of the last ship seeking to chart those waters, and the message they relayed to their escort is passing strange. Conditions fair, crescent-shaped isles straight in vicinity, potential safe haven during storms, attempting to make landfall. They never made it back to report, despite the calm seas. Folks have taken to calling the isles the Occult Crescent ever since. They say it's not but a shifting mirage that claims the lives of all who sought it. Everyone on board knows the risks involved on the voyage like this, but there ain't nothing like the thrill of the unknown to trump good sense. Aye, a whiff of mystery and the promise of new discoveries hard to resist. Am I right in thinking the same applies to you, adventurer? Anyhow, why don't ye get acquainted with the rest of the crew? I'll be here checking the charts. Once you've got the measure of the folks risking their hides along with you, come find me. By the by, I will be making a new character soonish. By soonish, I mean in September. The reason for this is I'm going to be inviting or encouraging a friend to try the free trial. And given that they're not sure about the game, I plan to play it along with them. This friend of mine, Xerix, is also one of my moderators, so I look forward to introducing them to the wonders of 14. Okay. Anywho. This ain't me first trip to these waters. I sailed close to the Shade's Triangle to survey the weather many times. Only on the clearest day when the sea flats. The sea's flat as glass. Do you get a glimpse of the isle? It looks unremarkable from a distance, but that's exactly what the poor bastards who went missing must have thought. Never did pluck up the courage to take a closer peek, curious as I was. But when I heard Ketamram was leading the expedition to the heart of the triangle, I signed right up. Don't get me wrong, I've still got me reservations, but when I think of whatever's waiting for us in those waters, it's the excitement that wins out. Expedition Century. My grandfather once sailed with Catamaran. He was right there with him when they first made it to landfall in Tyrol. It wasn't Tyrol they were aiming for. They'd left Eorzea westward bound for Hingashi. They didn't count on getting on a great big continent laying between them and their destination. Once they were ashore, they soon forgot all about the Far East. Eventually my grandfather settled, and here I am, 3 generations later. By all accounts, journeying with Catamaram is life-changing. I mean that in the best possible sense, of course. Expedition Prospector. Don't let me talk to him. There we go. This isn't some foolhardy treasure hunt. No, solving the Isle's secrets will be worth more than any glittering trinket. And if we can open up safe passage to the islands, there's potential for establishing a permanent landing. Just imagine the boon to foreign trade that would bring. All of which is to say, there's more at stake here than lining our pockets. Okay. Expedition Provisioner. There's no telling what awaits us on the Isle, which is why we've enlisted the help of experts and artisans to supplement our crew. There is one fellow we're all wishing we steered clear of, though. After we left port, I caught the crazy fool trying to launch one of the lifeboats. We managed to lock him in the hold, but the patrol set about drinking all the rum in sight. In the end, we tied him up and stuffed him in one of the barrels he drained dry. Lol, I have a feeling I know who that is. Quizzies! Hello, Candle! How you doing? Oh, by the way, this was the surveyor. I didn't actually read the name of him. Catamaran. Looks like you had a good chat with the crew. That's the thing with seafaring. A close-knit crew is indispensable out on the open sea. I know there's talk about me feats in region Tyrol, but in truth I couldn't have done it without me fellow explorers. Wherever the winds might take us, I consider it my duty to get us all there and back in one piece. Right. Will be enlisted. Will be entering Shade's Triangle any moment now. Look sharp. Oh, I'm good. I'm sorry you're exhausted from work. Maybe you should take a nap. Or lie down while you watch the stream. I don't know. I'm good. While the cutscene plays... I'm putting this on. Okay. Okay. Blue. Oops. Sorry about this. I'm making a little thing for this little corner thing. There you go. Make sure I spelled their name right. It's an E, not a U. There you go. Land ho. Hold steady. We sail straight for her. Aye aye. Where's that blasted isle? We just had it in our sights. Land spotted off the starboard stern. What? Don't tell me we cornered right past. Get the Hulk turned around. Lost sight of the damn thing again. Shifting mirage was right on the money. If the isle itself was moving, the waves to be shorten right over the bulk. This is no natural phenomenon. Something's missing with our perception. You deserve. Heed my call. Deserve or not, onward we sail. Who are you talking to? A strange voice, you say. I didn't hear a thing. What in the... I lost control of the rudder. It's like something's reeling us in. Gods. It couldn't be the Isle, could it? How's the hull looking? No obvious damage, but the ship is stuck fast, almost as if we've dropped anchor. Perfectly docked and without a single scratch. There ain't a helmsman alive who could have managed that. I fear she'll end up just like that if we try to shift her. I reckon we were brought here by some sort of arcane trickery. Trapped too, most like. Heh, magicked right to our destination. Quite the stroke of luck, if you ask me. Well, there's nothing for it but to get this expedition underway. I'm gonna alt-tab really quick and send a message. Okay, so let's talk to each of the members of the expedition. If we could. Nope, we can't. Okay, we can only talk to these two. With the ship pinned in place, there's not much we can do to except take a look around. And let's see if there's anyone else to talk to before we... Nope, no one else is here yet. Okay. Nope, I didn't mean to talk to you again. That voice you heard on the ship, I'm starting to wonder whether that wasn't some kind of summon. I'm glad to have you with us, regardless. As far as the isle itself, it's assumed to be uninhabited. Certainly wasn't expecting to come across this phantom village. Like as not, there's some sort of weird encampment in compassion wards. Excuse me, let me reread it. Like it's not, there's some sort of ward enchantment encompassing this island to keep us here. That said, there's a chance ethereal currents could circumvent the wards. Assuming ye tap into one, might be worth a try if adventure calls you elsewhere. En road, as much as I'd like to gather the crew and get stuck right in, we'd better secure the perimeter first. Oh, and I thought I'd give you a journal to jot down your findings along the way. Figured there was more than a few folks out there who'd appreciate a record of your exploits here. Fill those pages and give them something to sink their teeth into. If you wish to return to Tulliola at any point during the expedition, interact with the ethereal current by the mariner's ship. The corresponding current at the harbor, High Tide Harbor, facilitates travel back to Cold Crescent. Occult records unlocked. The occult record is now available under collection in the duties section of the main menu. New entries are prominent terms and characters will be added to the record as you explore Cold Crescent. Catamaran, Bluefist Fin. Okay. Duty. Cold record. No, not Codex. Funding Codex. Catamaran, Bluefist Sin. In year 1497 of the Sixth Astral Era, the Lamentin Sea Wolf explorer of not 20 summers plotted a westward course to Hingashi, embarking on a fateful voyage that would catapult him to the ranks of legend. Unbeknownst to him and his crew, a great continent lay between them and the Far East, and it was not the splendor of Kugani, but the shores of Tyrol that ultimately laid upon the horizon. Having made landfall, Catamaran roamed the interior and ultimately reached Mamuk, then the vast home of the Mamolja. There he met the then Archok Gulojaja, with whom he struck up a firm friendship. Together, the pair ranged the length and breadth of Tyrell, spurring on by the same adventurous spirit that led the old sailor to this mysterious isle. Log 1, Catamaran. The Phantom Village. Ketram scans the empty settlement with wary eyes. Odd, not a single soul about. No use pondering, though. We'd better take a look around while Ffxiv stands guard. As long as the ship's safe, so are all the provisions on board. And that means one less worry while we're getting our bearings. Let me know if you find anything interesting. Faintly glowing stone. Likely carved by a skilled hand, this aether-infused stone exudes a faint glow. It is unclear whether the stone emits light naturally or if some internal mechanism is causing the illumination. Let's talk to Catamaran while we're in this instance. This door's sealed shut, but with a bit of persuasion, I reckon I can prise the lock open. By persuasion, do you mean force or lock-picking? There's two different kinds of persuasion for a door. Or, yeah, two. The foliage choking the building and the overall state of decay suggests it has been abandoned for some time, left to the mercy of the elements. Let's see. Gotta switch hotbars. Huh. Survey point. The Phantom Village has been added to the occult records. I'm gonna read these as I get them. Perched upon the eastern tip of the occult crescent, this compact settlement is deathly silent, save for the gentle solace of the plaza fountains. Though the stone structures are withered and overgrown, the orderly state of the town implies a degree of active preservation by some known hand. In the harbor, the forlorn wrecks are outbound ships are a testament of the fearsome reputation Shade's Triangle commands. 2 shipwrecks are visible in the eerily silent bay, no doubt once crewed by brave sailors seeking the inner reaches of Shade's Triangle. Judging from their orientation, the vessels must have sunk while attempting to leave the isle. There is no telling whether the souls on board were also lost to the waves. You have finished your investigation of the area. Keterim will be keen to know your findings. Whee! Ow. Now I plan to focus on the red mage while we crap him, but we can change classes as we please during Cold Crescent. I'm guessing you're no closer to solving the Isle's mysteries either? Looking at these structures, I'd say the settlement's ancient. The original inhabitants may be long gone, but I was half hoping to find a few survivors, from the wrecks at the very least. Anyhow, this building in particular took me interest. I managed to force the lock. I don't want you to think I make a habit of breaking locks and general skullduggery, other than strictly necessary, of course. Let's take a look inside, shall we? A sarcophagus. Do you reckon? I wouldn't get any closer if I were you. I sense arcane trickery afoot. These candles aren't being kept alight by natural means. That's for damn sure. Huh, just as I thought. Experience tells me a ward like this'll have us jumping through hoops to dispel it. Only deserve melee claim. Let me see what I can do. Not sure which is more confounding mystery, your magic touch or this godforsaken rock we're standing on. A Tonberry? Thoroughly refreshed and raring to go. And who might you be, to be? Wasn't expecting the common tongue. You take me for some benighted fool, but perhaps the valid suspension given the valid suspicion given my current state. You stand before the archive, the very definition of irradiation. Now hurry up and introduce yourselves. Oh, Wolf Mage, is it? Those keen searching eyes of yours. Clearly you have an inquisitive mind like no other. Save my own, that is. I am Captain Worm, an explorer hailing from Limsa Laminsa. We're here on an expedition backed by the nation of Tuliola. Limsa who what now? Tuliola? I visited each of the 12 city-states and learned all there is to know about their peoples and culture, but those names ring unfamiliar. To think a whole nation would elude me. Tell me, when exactly was this Tuliola founded? The 7th astral era? I moved to this isle to avoid the spreading affliction that left me as you see, and promptly fell into a deep slumber. If memory serves, such a plague swept the realm at the end of the 5th astral era, but that means you've been asleep for more than 1,500 years. That would explain why I feel so well rested. Now that I'm awake, I should very much like to see what has become of the Isle. I certainly don't recall this memorial fountain being so begrimed with algae. Perhaps you do speak the truth. And this strange aether I sense providing the Isle. Providing the Isle. Could it be a ward of sorts? The notion's still foggy after that eons-long slumber. There was a time when I knew all kinds of things. The name of every battle, the weight of all the reaches in the world to the ounce. I was a wise old man, a gushing fount of knowledge. I can't recall. I could be a real boon for your expedition once I get up to speed. I shall join you on your endeavors. Perhaps in the course of our adventures, your memories will come flooding back. Seeing as there's nothing in this settlement out to kill us, I think it's time we get the crew ashore and earn their kept and earn their keep. Earning their keep. I'll be right back. Hopefully we can learn more about the Isle from our newfound co-conspirator. The archive has been added to the occult thing. Okay. Let's look at the archive. Although identical in form to those gruesome figures of legend, the Tomberries, the archive is uniquely rational, unquestionably rational, and posing of a friendly, if occasionally boastful demeanor. He pledged to join Ketram's expedition after being roused from his sarcophagus in the Phantom Village, though it remains to be seen whether he will prove a useful asset as the wise old man struggles to recall most of his allegedly nigh infinite knowledge, a result of lingering gorgoness from his lengthy slumber, or some other arcane process. Okay, talk to the archive. Unfamiliar territory. The archive yearns to make sense of the situation. Would you care to elaborate upon what brought you here? So this isle lies in the heart of the Shades Triangle, and many ships a ship has gone missing in these waters? You mentioned the wrecks out in the bay. It's unreasonable to think some of those sailors would have made it ashore. Why did no one try to wake me? They probably took one look at you and sealed the sarcophagus. The door to your chambers was tightly barred. Never mind that puzzle. I'm still puzzled by the strange voice like only I can hear. You mean to imply that someone summoned you here? Clearly it wasn't me. I've been sound asleep for the last few millennia, give or take. What a tantalizing conundrum. We simply must get to the bottom of this. Is it knowledge you seek? What manner of creature is this? A familiar, methinks. Looks like the fairies employed by the Naaman scholars of Eld. What what was it you who summoned her? Me? Preposterous. I would have summoned something more statuesque. How rude. My name is Iris, and I certainly wasn't called forth by a wizened little wretch like you. Wizened? You mean wise. You petulant little whelp. Honestly, who would ever summon a companion so lacking in manners? I know exactly what I meant, and you, sir, are lacking in wisdom. A seal has been placed upon your worldly knowledge, thus preventing its use. You can only speak of that which the beef, the preferred individual here has seen and learned firsthand. Is that so? Well, that explains why I can't muster the faintest mode of magic. I tried to heal myself earlier, to no avail. Centuries of sleep on a cold stone slab really took a toll on my lower back. Enough of you and your arc and bones. Iris, where's your master? Let me try a different trick. Why were you summoned here? I do not know. Or I don't know. Looks like someone else has had their knowledge sealed away. If I'm wizened, lacking wisdom, you're not but an unfamiliar. I'll tell you one thing. That fairy was steeped in the same aether permeating the isles. As I surmised, there's a strange fort covering the isle in its entirety. No doubt those ships in the bay were caught in its pull. Well, wards can't just cast themselves, meaning someone's responsible for those poor souls who perished in Shade's Triangle. Methinks our focus ought to be finding out what we can about this individual. And let's not forget that strange voice you keep hearing. For all we know, it could be connected to in some way. Right, let's go speak with Joffrey over yonder. He ought to have word on progress at the base camp. And we have a bot. Let me deal with that. Jeffrey? Loading screen. You'll be pleased to hear that preparations are well underway. I sent the advance party out to scout ahead while the ship's being unloaded. They've already found an ideal spot to stage forays into the isle's southern reaches, and are setting up camp as we speak. When you're ready, head out. Just say the word. Ready to head out, just say the word. Once you're out in the field, you'll have to speak with Captain Rem and decide how to proceed. The support crew will be stationed here in town, so be sure to avail yourself of their services if you need. And if you're after a weaponsmith, word is we hired a truly remarkable craftsman for the expedition. Judging by his reputation, he'll soon have your weapons honed to deadly perfection. The smithy will be set up over yonder. Do drop by if you're interested. Well, that's all from me. Give me a shout when you're ready to make for the encampment. Colt Crescent Southern Horn now accessible. Iris has been added to the cult record. Let's read that record. Iris. This ethereal familiar appears shortly after the Archive's awakening, claiming authoritatively that the man's wisdom was sealed away and can only be accessed where it concerns matters that the Warrior of Light has witnessed firsthand. When pressed about her own purpose, however, she too confessed ignorance. Compounding the mystery, the archive sensed the same aether that envelops the island emitting from the ferry. Could her master be the unseen hand presiding over Occult Crescent? So now that we've unlocked Occult Crescent, we're gonna do the real thing I wanted to do. I will... over here should be the smith. It looks like he's still loading in. Give it a sec. Man, there's so many NPCs that it's taking a while to load. Or rather, PCs. So many players here, it's taking a while to load the NPCs. There it is. Legislature. Arcane Artistry. Lightdrissil is on the hunt for a missing weaponsmith. That ram-addled reprobate wouldn't be surprised if we found him floating in the sea. Oh, have you seen the smithy? Have need of the smithy, do you? I'm afraid we ain't up and running yet. Truth be told, the weaponsmith we hired bolted before we could finish setting up shop. The master of his a master of his craft by all accounts, but he's been nothing but trouble since he set foot on the ship. Kept trying to escape, so we threw him in the hold. Our woes didn't end there, though. He drank most of the booze we'd brought along for the expedition. I'll tell you, the bugger's was half pickled by the time we hauled him out. Any road, the bastard's now gone and disappeared. Sounds like you kidnapped an upstanding artisan and held him prisoner. This fellow you speak of sounds vaguely familiar. Either you're already acquainted with the scoundrel, or Eorzea's home to more cantankerous smiths than I thought. Needless to say, there aren't many folks willing to sail to Shade's Triangle. While we were searching round trying to find someone, a certain enterprising woman put us in touch. They say there ain't a finer weaponsmith alive today, but he drinks like a sailor on sore leaves, and is not in debt. Signed up for the expedition to settle his dues. Inroad, he couldn't have gone far. It's not like there's any way off this rock, and if he's off as good as they say, I reckon it'll be a boon for your adventuring. Keep an eye peeled, and if you run into a shirtless, rum-soaked good-for-nothing by the name of Geralt, tell him to come see me. Yep, it's the same guy. And he is up over there. Not a drop of rum to be had in this bloody ghost town. There was no mention of Shade's Triangle when I signed the goddamn contract. Talk about false bloody pretenses. More fool me for trusting that wily Harridan, eh? Who the hells are... Oh, bugger me, can't do one bleeding job without you showing your ugly mug. That said, there's never a dull moment when us two team up. How about we finish the job sharpish and get off this desolate rock, eh? Yep. And we head back over here. You must have had a hard time coaxing him back. Prolix for all the trouble. Right. With the smithy up and running, it's high time you started earning your keep. listen here. Do you really think I'm going to solely me hammer and tongs knocking out work any village smith with half a brain could handle? No, nothing less than 9 possible feats. Oh, genius stoke me fire these days. Says the impudent sot who drank the old dry, reckoned up more debt in the process. You're hardly in position to dictate terms, though it does seem daft to fork over eye-watering sums to our Eorzea's finest weaponsmith, only to have him forge in plain old swords and shields. Any ideas, adventurer? I'm sure Eorzea's finest weaponsmith has his own ideas. He does, as a matter of fact. Devenish a new means of refining weapons and armor. I can't help but notice that all ether permeate in this place. Reckon I'll tap into that somehow. Of course, I'll need raw materials. Some magic warped ore from the Isle should do the trick. If it's ore you're after, our surveyors will soon be conducting a preliminary excavation. Is that all you need to start? Hardly. If that were the case, any old fool could do the job. Magical properties can be fleeting and exclusive. Without a means to properly harness the ether, there's every chance the ore degrades in the process. So you'll require something else besides raw materials. Any inkling as to what that might be? Sometimes a foul beastie in the throes of death leave behind a crystallized chunk of their life essence. I've used the stuff in the past, and while it ain't exactly common, I'd wager you'll find it on this bastard rock. Not that it's unique to the Isle, mind. I'm sure you'll find it anywhere else too. Does this mysterious crystal have a name? Indeed it does. Demiatma. Thanks for providing the spark our weaponsmith needed. Looks like he's committed to fulfilling his credentials duties, at the very least. Say, how do you feel about handling the fiend felon part of the gambit? While you're out acquiring Demiatma, I'll see how amiable Gamalt is at helping around the smithy. I reckon that's a reasonable diversion to labor. I love the character's reaction to Demiatma's. Phantom Weapon Saga? Yep. Okay, we can now acquire Demiatmas in the regions of Tuliolo, as well as in the Fates in Occult Crescent. Up a little lag, but that's where we're gonna end Final Fantasy XIV for now, because I'm gonna grind the Demiatmas in Tuliolo off screen. So we're gonna switch over to story time. I'm gonna turn on the BRB screen so I have a nice spot to switch over when I cut the video. So, BRB.